And that's exactly what I did.
Wonderful. Now give him that toy mirror so he can finally go back to sleep.
What, you think I carry around a huge bag of stuff in case my idiot stepbrother is dumb enough to catapult us into the multiverse?
Huh. One should be prepared for all eventualities.
Look up.
Why? Ow! Hey, why are you hitting me?
Well, it appears you weren't prepared for all eventualities after all.
And that's how the siblings got into a huge fight. Stay tuned for more Tales from the Campfire.
Maybe you could tell him a story, Talia. That always used to help me back then. Whenever you started talking, I always fell asleep out of boredom.
As if your stories were any better. But back when I was roaming the Wild West, there was this thing in Dynamite Valley. Right, listen up, you little diaper filler. I was roaming the Wild West. My goal, the Golden Mail Train.
I know this is supposed to be a flashback and all, but the star of the Dungeon series is still me, the narrator. So get a grip before I reduce your existence to a mere footnote. Where were we? Oh yes, Talia wanted to ambush the Dynamite Valley mail train. Why rob the mail train? Well, dwarves aren't big on writing letters. They're stubby fingers and all, complicated business. But they were crazy about sending gold home. Hence, the Golden Mail Train. Why should anyone rob the mail train going through Dynamite Valley? Because there were tons of dynamite factories there, which were particularly useful when robbing mail trains, for example. Who would have thought that Dynamite Valley could be more than just a touristy-sounding name? So Dynamite Valley was full of these factories. When Talia took them, she would be able to throw dynamite around like a child throwing confetti. Only this confetti would reduce buildings to rubble. That sounded like fun. It would also allow some of the barricades scattered throughout the valley to be blown up. It's as if the dwarves deliberately placed obstacles around just to watch them explode spectacularly. This could quickly lead to useful shortcuts. Useful in the sense of why take a detour when you can cause a massive explosion instead.
Huge explosions are totally my thing. Forward, creatures. Disregard the safety instructions and light open fires. Today we're robbing a train.
You have unearthed a new area in the dungeon.
Oh.
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. You have discovered a number of lava lumps. Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay.
The Dynamite Valley dwarves had heard about Talia and the noisy underworld expanding evil. It was probably only a matter of minutes before those bearded nuisances would be sniffing around the dungeon entrance with their gleaming axes.
Ah! Let them come, those greedy idiots. Creatures, get the fool's gold ready. Nothing lures a dwarf into a trap faster than fake bling. And nothing disappoints them more. Oh, that is except for our axes and swords.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. gone! It's payday!
The map scouting Evil's creatures had discovered a barricade. This was far too sturdy to be damaged by the creature's pitiful attacks and would have to be blown out of the way. Nothing says I want to get through like a massive explosion that blows this barricade into a bunch of beautiful flying fragments.
Oh, that sounds wonderful! Blowing something up is always a great idea. Nothing makes a villain's day better than the smell of explosions in the morning. Now all we need is some dynamite.
There were a total of 3 dynamite factories in Dynamite Valley. At least one of them had to be captured or, in Dungeon's logic, destroyed in order for Talia and the explosive evil to gain access to dynamite.
Piece of cake, I'd say. Go on, creatures. Take that dynamite factory by storm. And by that I mean pound away on it until the walls shake so hard that even the stones get scared.
A gold vein is almost exhausted. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. Your little snots have roused some lava lumps. There are enemies in your dungeon.
It's payday. The mail train would soon arrive at the nearby station in Kaboom City. This seemed like the ideal moment to rob the train. However, it was well protected.
Ooh, the perfect moment to get our claws into the valuable cargo. Of course, those idiots have stuffed the area full of guards. As if that could stop me. Lucky's Less is a small price to pay for all the wonderful chaos we're going to unleash. Forward, creatures! Crush them!
payday.
Hey, you. Yes, that's right, you. Who think you're so evil, but don't even own a measly dynamite factory. Do you want to keep throwing stones, or would you rather show off with some real explosions? Maybe you should get your ass in gear and take over a dynamite factory. Just a suggestion.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. The explosive evil had found a dynamite factory. In keeping with the infallible dungeon's logic, it obviously had to be completely destroyed before it could be captured.
Ah, no problem. Forward, you expendable creatures. Keep hammering away at that highly explosive stuff. Oh, don't worry, I'm at a safe distance. I'm strategically coordinating from afar. Your potential demise is a small price to pay for my success.
The dynamite-throwing evil had destroyed the dynamite factory. Captured it. From then on, it could throw dynamite around the way others throw empty promises and, among other things, make confetti out of those pesky barricades.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Who needs hobbies like knitting or gardening when you can blow things up instead? We should try it out right now, because an explosion today is always better than an explosion tomorrow. Besides, most of our creatures never live longer than the next scene anyway.
It was important to mention that the trains in Dynamite Valley had developed a remarkable resistance to explosions. Years of transport through highly explosive territory apparently conferred immunity to dynamite. An ironic twist of fate or the brutal restrictions of a game designer. Who could say for sure? The creature-wasting evil's troops... Ooh, yep, that looked like fun. Nothing screams evil like a healthy dose of explosives. Unfortunately, the supply had already been used up. Luckily, more could be made. For gold.
For gold? Of course! Because evil generals have nothing better to do than pay for their instruments of destruction. What's next? Loot boxes with a 0.001% chance of legendary dynamite? But okay, sometimes even evil has to dig into its pockets.
There were other factories to be found in Dynamite Valley. These would increase production and thereby lower the price.
A carriage filled with heroes on home leave sped across the map. Intercepting this would definitely yield some evilness.
It's payday.
A gold vein is almost exhausted.
Absolute Evil seemed to have forgotten that the train was still chugging through the valley in an unpleasantly functional state. The tiny scratches on the paintwork could hardly be described as a successful robbery.
Manivores have appeared in your dungeon. A gold vein has been mined out.
Absolute Evil seemed to show surprising hesitation in procuring more explosives. Apparently it preferred to fight its enemies using old-fashioned methods such as claws, teeth, and the occasional eye roll.
Manivores have appeared in your dungeon. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. Ding dong! It's payday! Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
The mail train would soon arrive at the nearby station in Kaboom City. This seemed like the ideal moment to rob the train. However, it was well protected.
Ooh, the perfect moment to get our claws into the valuable cargo. Of course, those idiots have stuffed the area full of guards. As if that could stop me. A few lackeys less is a small price to pay for all the wonderful chaos we're going to unleash. Forward, creatures! Crush them!
Your enemies are in the dungeon. payday. Creatures are collecting their pay. There are enemies in your dungeon. A caravan bearing the third foster daughter of an irrelevant prince was on its way. The merciless evil could destroy the shipment to acquire some evilness.
Absolute Evil seemed to show surprising hesitation in procuring more explosives. Apparently, it preferred to fight its enemies using old-fashioned methods such as claws, teeth, and the occasional eye roll.
creatures are collecting their pay. Your enemies are in the dungeon. dong! It's payday! One of your little snots dug into a lava lump. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Your little snots have roused some lava lumps. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Marie Antoinette's Cake for the Poor Express was whizzing by near the dungeon. Would the diabetic evil let it just do that?
It's payday.
These prices are the real terror here, not me. At least they could offer a volume discount or a loyalty card. Buy 10 sticks of dynamite, get 1 explosion free.
With an unnecessary amount of fire, a grossly excessive explosion, and special effects our budget couldn't really afford, the first barricade dissolved in a dramatic cloud of smoke.
Nothing can stop us now. I love the smell of dynamite in the morning. Although, yeah, actually, now because the explosion just...
Despite its questionable structural integrity, the train suddenly accelerated and headed for another section of track. Apparently, this mobile post office still had enough steam left for a strategic regrouping. Some would call it escape. Engineers prefer the term mobile defense.
Come back here, you rolling scrap heap. The party was just getting started. Why do victims always have to be so uncooperative? Forward, creatures! Puff and pant along behind, and don't let that steam horse out of your sight.
Your creatures have discovered a room full of giant scorpions.
The train's shaking startled some giant scorpions in their underground lair. Fortunately, there was another exit in the tunnel system that led directly to the area where the train was now making its rounds. An absolutely natural plot development that in no way gives the impression that the developers came up with this level transition after downing 3 bottles of cheap mead. Who needs well-thought-out level design when you can have random scorpion tunnels? Subtlety has never been Evil's strong suit, nor this game designer's.
Wasn't I going to make mincemeat out of those designers? Well, that'll have to wait. Forward, creatures! Make mincemeat out of those scorpions and turn them into delicious food.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. along. It's payday. The cute little puppy express had just hit the road. A perfect opportunity for the animal-hating evil to earn some evilness.
Oops, I think someone just exploded. How unpredictable and completely unintentional.
The portal is under attack.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
one dynamite factory, the absolute evil had discovered a second dynamite factory. If the loot box despising evil were to take it over, the price of explosive entertainment would drop. A truly fascinating economic strategy. And who knows, perhaps there's even a little extra gift hidden in those smoke-filled halls for particularly ambitious conquerors. Hopefully not one of those loot boxes.
We're not going to let this opportunity slip away. Forward, creatures! You know what to do. Keep hammering away at that dynamite factory while I watch from a safe distance. Why should I risk my manicured fingers when you can use your worthless bodies as meat shields? Remember, the advantages of cheaper dynamite will eventually trickle down to you. If it's time.
The mail train would soon arrive at the nearby station in Kaboom City. This seemed like the ideal moment to rob the train. However, it was well protected.
Ooh, the perfect moment to get our claws into the valuable cargo. Of course, those idiots have stuffed the area full of guards. As if that could stop me. A few lucky slices are small price to pay for all the wonderful chaos we're going to unleash. Forward, creatures! Crush them!
While the absolute evil was still reveling in explosive euphoria, it remembered that a certain train was in the second part of the valley. The train with the valuable loot, in case someone had forgotten.
Those are just pieces of one.
Payday. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted.
Dynamite, but I hate the absurdly high price tag.
Little Puppy Express had just hit the road. A perfect opportunity for the animal-hating evil to earn some evilness. Enemies are in the dungeon. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. payday. Creatures are collecting their pay.
Crash thunder. With a noise that could be heard throughout the dungeon, the barricade crumbled into fine rubble and thick smoke. Unbelievable. The train had actually managed to drag itself back to supposed safety, smoking, squeaking, and with all the elegance of a dying beetle. One last gasp before the inevitable end. How unfortunate for the absolute evil that its toy decided to breathe its last breath in the driest, hottest, and most sandy region of Dynamite Valley.
Oh, come on! Now that huge blob of iron is running away for the second time! Don't trains have manners anymore these days? Stand still and explode! Is that really too much to ask? Oh, fine. Pack the sunscreen, creatures. We're going on a desert safari, and that loot will move, even if I have to put up with sand in my boots.
In its desperate attempt to escape, our friend the smoking train actually broke through the impenetrable wall. A remarkable achievement for a vehicle that should have been scrapped long ago. The borders between these sections of the game seem less robust than their names suggest.
Ah, look at that. That's definitely a case for the insurance. I would love to see the look on that clerk's face. Cause of damage. Oh, just a train fleeing from the absolute evil. Onward, creatures! Victory is near!
dug into a lava lump.
The devastating explosion, undoubtedly a textbook example of spectacular destruction, had apparently not only pulverized the impenetrable wall, but also uncovered a hidden dwarf dungeon. What a fortunate coincidence for evil. This underground complex full of short-legged, bearded weirdos led, as if by magic, directly into the desert into which the damaged mail train had just fled in desperation.
Dwarf dungeon. Perfect. Nothing brightens my day more than the opportunity to knock a bunch of cantankerous mountain dwellers out of their burrows. And the exit happens to lead right to where our favorite train is hiding. Oh, perfect! Well then, it's off to the Dwarven Burrow. I'll even bring my own dynamite. Call it a little housewarming gift.
Manivores have appeared in your dungeon.
The dwarfs had swung their last pickaxe. Their once-proud dungeon lay in ruins. The entrance to the desert now legally belonged to the absolute evil, with the takeover formalities having been sealed with fire, explosions, and some occasional malicious laughter. Now nothing stood in the way of an explosive finale against the stubborn train.
A sad little shipment had strayed into the lands of absolute evil. Destroying this would certainly generate quite a bit of evils.
Of hero confetti, red, sticky, and delightfully evil. These prices are the real terror here, not me. At least they could offer a volume discount or a loyalty card. Buy 10 sticks of dynamite, get 1 explosion free.
Enemies are in the dungeon.
A third dynamite factory had been discovered by the blast-happy Evil's hordes. If it were to be captured, the cost of the coveted dynamite would drop even further. As simple as it was ingenious. Take over more factories, spend less gold, blow up more stuff. The Absolute Evil had incorporated the last remaining dynamite factory into its explosive empire. A truly historic moment. The Valley's entire dynamite monopoly now belonged to a single evil entity. The production capacity now allowed up to 3 charges at the same time. An almost obscene amount of destructive potential.
Yes, yes, yes! Oh! Ooh, the entire dynamite monopoly now belongs to me! 3 charges at the same time. That's better than Christmas, my birthday, and world domination all rolled into one. And prices have dropped again. Ooh, now we can really get the party started. Get ready, you pathetic heroes. The absolute evil is in dynamite fever, and nothing will survive.
carnivores have appeared in your dungeon.
Oh, did someone order a hero? Extra crisp and in bite-sized pieces.
The mail train would soon arrive at the nearby station in Kaboom City. This seemed like the ideal moment to rob the train. However, it was well protected.
Oh, the perfect moment to get our claws into the valuable cargo. Of course, those idiots have stuffed the area full of guards. As if that could stop me. 2 lucky slices, a small price to pay for all the wonderful chaos we're going to unleash. Forward, creatures! Crush them! Dynamite again? Next time I'll just detonate a few little snots for free and similarly entertaining.
Kaboom! Another barricade spectacularly disintegrated into smoke and microscopic gravel. Of course, no one saw this masterpiece of destruction because, as everyone knows, only unepic noobs stare at explosions.
Your gold vein is nearly exhausted.
Victory! The absolute evil had finally defeated the defiant train with a final gloriously choreographed display of wanton violence. The once proud rail vehicle now lay scattered across the desert sand in thousands of picturesque pieces. The joy, the satisfaction, the... Wait a minute.
Finally! Oh, no one escapes the absolute evil. And now to my hard-earned spoils. Gold, artifacts, magic weapons.
But then came the moment of truth. Beaming with joy, Talia made her way through the smoking wreckage of the train, ready to savor the legendary treasures. But what did her greedy eyes see? Loot boxes! Not gold, precious gems, or powerful artifacts, no. Just box after box of digital trifles.
What the? Loot boxes? The whole damn train is full of loot boxes. What's this? Fur hats for goblins, cosmetic armor paint, 50% discount voucher on your next purchase of dynamite. Is this some sort of sick joke?
And so ended the story of Talia's great mail robbery. It turned out that even dwarves went with the times and now preferred digital trinkets to golden rock. Was that really a story that would put Gorgu to sleep? Well, hope springs eternal.